Hey friend, if you are struggling with menopause and you just tired through and you're hot and sweaty, this video is for you. I had the opportunity to interview Mr. Eugene Smith, a functional nutrition advisor who created an amazing nutrition program for women struggling with menopause. So if that is you, you keep on watching. I hope you enjoy it and get some good tips, and don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy. I do want to thank you for doing this because this is a new segment for me. And, this is my first time, like interviewing someone in this way. So I definitely appreciate you kind of like being my first little guest on this topic.
I really appreciate you because I haven't had a chance to really sit down and get talking points together for the program because it's so new. Mm-hmm. So I'm still trying to figure out how to discuss it and promote it. So this is good for me because it gives me a chance to get into that mindset.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you as well.
That's all a part of the business,
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was taken aback when I saw the name that you're a functional nutrition advisor, and I thought that was very interesting. So what exactly is that, and kind of tell us what inspired you to get on the journey as a functional nutrition advisor?
Well, generally when we went through the program, it was for functional nutrition counseling.
Okay.
I just changed the word from counseling to advisor. Also, I still use counseling. It's just sometimes I use advisor or counseling. So I'm a certified functional nutrition counselor.
Okay.
And so advisor just kind of sounds a little bit more authoritative.
Mm-hmm. I actually love it.
Good. Oh, thank you.
How long have you been a functional nutritionist advisor?
I've been practicing for 2 years. Before that, it's been, my health journey. I run tracks. I'm a master's athlete. Mm-hmm. So with all of that, to get in shape and to sustain, the training, I was really just trying to get myself in good physical conditioning. And then once I got in conditioning, I was like, well, what can I do with this? I want to do something. So I thought, they have master's track for people my age. So I started with that, but that got me into really holding my nutrition up. And so, my friends would always come to me. And even before that, I was learning, things about supplements and food, how to eat the right stuff. And some of that background comes from the military because even though they didn't really talk about nutrition, when we were in garrison, they did, ate good breakfast, they ate whole foods, throughout the day. Now you had junk food, but we were not trying, so it was balancing. And junk food back in the 80s was still a little bit more healthy than it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind telling us how old you are?
I'm 62.
62. You look great.
62. Thank you. I just turned 62 last month.
Oh, happy belated.
Thank you.
Happy belated.
So I was finishing up with your question. So all of that led to I was doing IT I've been doing tech work for 30 years. It's been a long time. My first tech job was the movie. So I was getting to the point where I'm tired of doing it. I'm tired of Microsoft, I'm tired of Windows, doing all the stuff it does. And I'm sitting there, what do I want to do? I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. No, I really don't. My stomach started hurting when I was thinking about doing, when the phone rang, hey, the server's down, I can't print, this kind of stuff. So somebody suggested to me, why don't you go to school and get your a nutrition certification? And I was like, I don't want to go back to school. I'm picking something to go. I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay. So another friend of mine suggested that she was looking for a school, and I just happened to mention, so I hadn't found a school that I found a perfect program. And once I saw the curriculum, I was like, yeah, this is it. So I dived right on in. But in the meantime, I had been, all my friends would like call me, every other day, weekly. What do I take for this? Or what do I take? What's something I need to take for that? So I have already been kind of doing that anyway. So it's just kind of natural to me. So during the program, they encouraged us to start practicing immediately. So you would get into the habit of practicing, working with people, working with your friends, family, starting the business. The thing that I actually like about the program is that they taught you the business side of it as well as the nutrition side.
Oh, that's
And,
great.
and so that's pretty much it. That's how I got into it. There's some other underlying factors.
Mhm.
One of my main reasons for really wanting to be healthy because my dad died. He died. My dad died at 50. At 79. I think he would have been 80. The next birthday.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't want to put nobody through that, so let me get myself because I was in my late 40s. I was 211 pounds.
Really?
I was big, and I had two nieces that me and my wife at the time we raised because her mom was at work. So since we both worked from home, we kept the girls. And I was like, I want to see these girls grow up. They're going to have home. So that was
Right.
another motivating factor for this volunteer.
Making sure the ones are healthy.
Yeah. And so
Oh, that's great.
I just really, and also I wanted to, when I was in my early 50s, I was like, I want to be fine at 60. I don't want to be all pushed over.
Can't move. Can't
Right.
enjoy kids.
Right. I want to walk around, walk into a room like, So the ego kind of played into it as well. Vanity.
You just want to look good. You want to look good. You want to feel good. We don't have to kind of aspire to what society says about age, right? What you can expect at a certain age. Like
Right.
I don't aspire to that at all. So I completely understand.
There's some guys on my track team. The oldest guy is like 89, and he's very fast. I mean, he could probably outrun a lot of 30-year-olds who don't run. He's
Mhm.
and there's another 80-year-old. He's like 87, 88. He's not as fast because he's had some knee injuries and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But he's out there. They're still slim. I hope I'm like that. I want to be like that. So
You will.
their friends, my other friends are in their 70s and 60s. And when I was 50 coming into this, I was looking at them like, okay, so 60 is not a death sentence. 70 is not a death sentence.
No, it's
So when I made 60, I was like, oh, I can get around and still look okay. I'm actually running faster. So it was all a perspective, So
Right.
watching these older guys move around and that was it's just really inspiring,
Absolutely. I could see that.
Yeah.
Now, what I noticed on your page, and this kind of made me want to do this interview, is when I saw your menopausal nutrition program.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? I want to know more about that. So what inspired you to create a program for menopause?
Well, some of my clients, are women, and a lot of their issues stem from menopause, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause.
Mhm.
One of the questions that I always ask when I'm interviewing a woman is, what stage of menopause are you? Or have you had menopause since you feel on that age? What's going on? And then they'll start talking about it. And something else I noticed as well, I had a friend, really good friend of mine, and when I was really getting into the nutrition, when I was going through the program, she said, you really ought to focus on women's health too, as well as your other stuff. And I was like, but I'm not a woman. I don't feel comfortable presenting that. And she says, that shouldn't matter. But over time,
Absolutely.
as I started working with more female clients, that I kind of do that out the window. So I finally was like, okay, and I'm watching all these ladies online, not understanding what's going on with their bodies, not knowing, that, hey, I'm all these Sunday fun day mimosas,
Brunch.
and brunches, not knowing the effect that's having on them. I'm having hot flashes. My stomach is getting, my midsection is expanded. I don't look like I did in high school or college, or, I don't have the same libido or the same interest, So that's where a lot of that comes from, and it's something that maybe I can help educate some women, because the program is a little different from our one-on-one counseling. They still get one-on-one, but it's like an entry level. If someone needs a little bit, if she needs a little bit more help, then, she can, of course, work with me as a one-on-one client. But this is more like, the program is more to bring in the healthy foods, kind of teach you how to eat, provide meal plans for the allotted time, supplement protocols, I can also do, functional testing if that's needed. That's an option.
What does that entail? Functional testing.
The testing is more like a Dutch test, which the acronym for Dried Urine Test Complete Hormone, which really tests the complete makeup of a woman's hormones, what's going on. It also gives the nutrient, where she's at nutritionally. Like if she's deficient in certain areas, it'll show you that on the test.
Interesting.
The test shows a lot of different factors. You can also see if she's having adrenal problems, thyroid problems. And it's also for men as well. But the test there's several variations of this test depending on if, the woman's post, if she's peri, or if she's still cycling. They have different tests within that to determine, to utilize. There are also some other tests that I can run, complete blood panels, certain things just to kind of give you a complete picture. But the functional testing is really great because it shows you so much. And I would say traditionally, there are a lot of issues that women have, with their doctors because the doctors don't do these functional tests. They just do
Absolutely
the traditional test. And the woman's like, well, hey, I'm having all these issues. I'm having hot flashes. I'm doing this. And the doctor's like, no, here's some antidepressants. Go home. They don't run these. They don't run those tests. Insurance doesn't cover the test.
The insurance doesn't cover the test?
No, the insurance does not cover the test.
Is it something that's administered in office, or do they have to?
The Dutch test is like a kit. It's a urine test. It's also can be saliva, and it's something you send the kit out. I would send the kit out to, your house, like I said, your house, and you would follow the instructions, and then once you do it, you just send a sample back into the lab, and then they'll process it, and then we'll get the results, and then I'll go with the results with you.
Got it. So that's kind of similar to a test that I took not too long ago when I kind of wanted to see where my hormones were, and I had to do a saliva test. I had to pretty much spit in a tube 4 times a day. And I was able to see about my estrogen, just my estradiol, progesterone, cortisol, testosterone, DHEAs. It was one more. I can't remember it right now. But
what's the name of that test? That sounds like the best test. I know they have other tests that perform similar.
It sounds similar. Once I heard you mention urine, and then I heard you mention saliva, and I was like, that's probably it. And then they had different ones that you could take. Right. So that's the one that I chose because that's what I wanted to see where my progesterone was as opposed to my estrogen. Right.
Because if your progesterone is low, you can, and your estrogen, even though declining, it can look like your estrogen is high. And the doctor's like, well, estrogen is just high, or my estrogen is high, and actually your progesterone is low. They're not helpful. You just say no.
Right.
Then cortisol. Men, all of us were waking up at 3:00 in the morning, not knowing why. Because we pretty much live in fight or flight predominantly all the time now. With the 24-hour news cycle. Especially now with the election and everybody's going nuts over the election, and the algorithms seem to feed all this stuff to you, and it just gives you a lot of anxiety. So I know pretty much all cortisol levels are just kind of through the roof, which is a problem.
Right. When I did a little bit of research on menopause and things like that, I learned that the premenopausal symptoms start around 30. And I was like, are you kidding? And I honestly don't believe that a lot of women know that. They may be passing off some of these symptoms as just part of aging or whatever, not really understanding what's happening with their bodies. And maybe if they knew that, then they could do what was necessary to try to correct those things earlier, right? You mentioned about brunch, right? Them going to brunch. What are some types of food items that could kind of worsen the symptoms of menopause?
Well, a lot of younger women, or I'm not going to just say perimenopause. I would say a lot of women are on the go, single moms. Single grandmothers or grandmothers take care of the kids, kids while they're at work and all this stuff. And, on the go all the time, so you're grabbing food from wherever you can get it. And you're not cooking, you don't have time to prepare meals as much as possible. ultra processed food, which
Processed food.
that's horrible. Um, grain, conventional grains, wheat, anything with gluten in it,
Right.
is pretty much has glyphosate in it, which is Roundup, because they process the grain with it, they dry it out to prevent it from molding. So you have all this in your gut. Alcohol, the Sunday Funday bunches, or you just stressed from work and you want to have a bottle of wine instead
A bottle, not a glass of wine.
right.
A bottle of wine.
Right, somebody's like, well, today was a bottle of wine day. They say that wine is good, red wine is good for you. The newer studies show that alcohol in any, I would say, and I kind of see maybe vary a little bit, but I would say alcohol predominantly therapy. I stopped drinking. For me to stop drinking, because I drink a lot. But yeah, alcohol, I would say that sugar. Sugar is because there's sugar in everything. Sugar's in bread. Sugar is in everything, pretty much. Those lattes and Starbucks lattes on the way to work, that are whatever. All these different foods add up, and then you add up cumulatively over time. Months, years, or whatever. You've been eating like that. I've been on the go since for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. That stuff adds up.
It definitely does.
And so that can, bring a dysfunction to your gut, which is another thing that makes your hormones.
That's a whole nother topic right there.
Right. Right.
That's a whole nother topic. That's just, these different foods that we eat and people don't even recognize. And I did learn that a lot of the inflammation and stuff that we have, a lot of it is silent. Like you don't even know it's happening until boom, when you get this symptom, and it's like it's been there the whole time. Now you just feel it, right? So then that is what triggers you to go to the doctor and find out what's going on. And some people they don't even know.
If you don't find anything most of the time, well, let me take that back. And the doctor's not thinking about inflammation. He's just thinking about. She's like, well, something's wrong with me, or something's wrong with me, but your labs are okay. He's not running a CRP, a C-reactive protein test, which tells you that the body has inflammation. He's not. That's another functional test. So they miss a lot of things. So you walk around undiagnosed in inflammation. Which can lead to a downstream effect of all kinds of stuff, autoimmune stuff. Because basically, inflammation is your immune system responding to something. Like if you bump your elbow or something on the wall and it starts boiling up, that's your immune system responding to repair the damage.
Right.
But then also with chronic inflammation, your body's just in constant repair mode. It's just constantly moving.
It doesn't get time.
It doesn't get time to do anything other than just work on that.
Trying to heal you, right?
Going out of control. Yeah, it gets out of control.
Which is why nutrition is so important, so you can give your body what it needs to heal itself.
Yeah. Well, that's another reason why, I started the program, because I noticed most of everything I deal with is because somebody's out of balance from their malnourished or they don't have enough nutrients. They're not absorbing the nutrients, so they're just not eating the right way. And so a lot of problems stem from not having the proper nutrition. Your vitamin D levels, all your levels are low. And like I said, you don't know this. You're inflamed. Your body's inflamed.
Right.
Your brain is inflamed. That you see a lot of issues with kids. In school. As I know, with my nieces, I do it all the time. I'm looking at the food they're eating at lunch, or just in general, and when I had to several times having to go talk to the principal about something, and I'm like, well, hey, that kid, so look at what y'all feeding these kids, expect the kids to be able to walk a straight line. These kids' brains are inflamed, and they're looking at like light bulb goes off in the head, like, yeah, these kids are, the nutrition factors are all off, and it starts at home, but it's also here too. So it's a problem all around. And that's another reason. I'm sorry, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I can definitely see maybe like in the future how those premenopausal symptoms start they may start seeing them sooner
Please.
because of the way that the food is getting worse, right? Like it's getting worse. Just like with cancer showing up earlier in people, it I can definitely see how these premenopausal symptoms are starting earlier, just because of the lack of nutrition in the foods. Now, you do have like a nutrition program, right? So I know you don't want to spill everything, but if you could, like, what are some of the best foods to eat for menopause? If you could just give us a couple that we could
I would
know.
just say whole foods, organic if possible, lean proteins, chicken, fish, like salmon, um, 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 wild caught.
I was just about to say that. We were
Wild
having a
caught fish.
conversation. I actually, on Friday at work, I told everyone, we were in a meeting, and I said I'm going to be interviewing a guy. We're going to be talking about menopause. And two of the ladies just kind of like stood up, and they're like, "We definitely want to hear that. Like, send us your links and stuff like that." And she started talking about the fish and stuff like that, and how they're adding coloring to certain fish, and she was mentioning that it should be caught wild caught, and that's like the best type of fish to get. So you agree with that?
Yeah. Also, something I want to throw in, since I mentioned protein, women, and people in general, since we're talking about menopause more or less, women over 40 need to consume more protein. More if they're not vegan, that's vegan is a whole other thing. Vegan or vegetarian is a whole other thing. Protein, which can be accommodated as well. But you want to do more fish, more chicken, organic if possible. Um, Red meat. A lot of people don't like red meat. It's vilified, but I find, me personally, and with some of my clients, red meat is good. I mean, you don't have to eat too much or cook it so hot where you run into carcinogens, like you grilling every night. Even cooking anything, grilling is bad. Too much grilling is bad for you because it produces,
Honey,
carcinogens.
when I told a few people that,
They get the root
no, it
vegan.
don't. No, it's I'm like,
Right,
yes, it does. Not even, let's not forget to mention what it could also do to your lungs, okay?
right,
Because you're literally eating stuff that's burnt, okay? This stuff is
right.
burnt. But hey,
Now,
it's
there's
another
a
topic.
way to prepare it so it lessens the carcinogens, like you can marinate it in certain herbs and spices and things like
Mhm.
that. Um, but I love grilled, love barbecue. But I don't eat a lot of,
It's not bad.
moderation. Right, moderation. I generally, when I was younger, I fry my foods, and now I can't remember the last time I had anything fried. It was probably last year when I fried some shrimp, and I tried to fry that as healthy as I could, using coconut oil and chickpea flour for the batter, and I didn't fry it long. I just fried it long enough to just get it done. Um, so proteins. And I'm saying this again, women over 40 need more protein because it helps balance hormones, it helps with the bone health. It's also good for heart health. You also want to look at leafy greens, chard, kale if you can eat it. And, you can make smoothies, things of that nature. Black seeds. Black seeds are also good as well because they bring in, which something that I recently learned not too long ago when I thought black seeds were bad. I found out black seeds weren't bad as they said they were, because black seeds also can help you bring in phytoestrogen, which help balance out your estrogen levels as well. Which it was the opposite. We said, well, you eat black seed is gonna give you you're gonna be estrogen imbalance. You're gonna get too much estrogen. And what they were saying is the amount that you're getting from the black seed is not enough to do that. So this is something that I just learned because I was also avoiding black seeds as well. Now I just don't buy them. I do chia seeds. Chia seeds is another good food as well. I would also throw in stuff like fulvic acid, which you know what fulvic acid is.
Say that again.
Fulvic acid, FULVIC.
I've heard of that. Is it something similar to activated charcoal?
It's more or less made from decayed plants. It's kind of like compost. It's like decayed plants, and they turn into, they decay in the earth and they turn into minerals. And so you get all of these other minerals with it that you're not getting from, let's say, when you're eating, your vegetables and whatnot. With the soil depleted. Fulvic acid, anything that's going to bring in minerals is good for you. But one of the main things is, which in the program I kind of address, is I try to find out where their gut health is. And that kind of determines the meal, how I'm going to make the meal plan.
Okay.
But if your gut is off, you're not going to absorb none of it. A lot of people they're lacking nutrition because they're not able to absorb it. A lot of women will say, well, I'm eating, and a lot of it because somewhere you're imbalanced and your body's not allowing you to absorb, iron. So you're anemic, which it's not going to really come up in the test. I mean, you can see that you're anemic in the test, but you don't know why. But the root cause is because you're not absorbing the metal. There's so much. I'm trying to think of what did I miss anything?
I think you gave us a wonderful list. I've also heard about the benefits of cabbage as well, or its benefits,
red cabbage,
dioxygenin and stuff like that to help balance out hormones as well. I've heard about people making like a cabbage soup and eating that. Now I've never had a cabbage soup. I'm not opposed to it if it's flavorful, but I've heard about cabbage.
Y'all don't do that in Florida.
Cabbage as well.
Y'all don't do cabbage soup. No, I'm teasing. I don't know.
No, I like my cabbage steamed, okay?
I like it steamed, but you know what I do sometimes? I cycle cabbage. Like I make a smoothie every morning. Instead of me doing a breakfast. And I know as an athlete, I probably do need to do my protein in the morning. I just have not done. I do my protein in the afternoon and evening. It works for me, but I do a smoothie. But sometimes what I'll do, I will buy a red or green cabbage, and I'll put that, slice on a big chunk and put it in my smoothie along with everything else. Yeah, just kind of rotate. Yeah, just kind of rotate all my stuff. And a lot of things I do with my smoothies, I try, if I can get, I know they say seasonal, it's supposed to be seasonal, but I like watermelon. And during the off season, you generally get watermelon year round. So instead of putting water in my smoothies, I always put watermelon in my smoothies. So that turns into, that gives me the base.
I see that.
It makes the smoothies more filling, and you also get the benefits of the watermelon. So I tend to do that.
That's good.
I've been experimenting with smoothies. That was one of my first things that I started when I started my health journey with smoothies. And I look back at some of the old smoothies. I'm like, oh, God, really good. I put that in there. So, water and something else, and powder or something, But now I pretty much have my routine down. And my meal plans also include various smoothies. It just kind of depends on the person and what kind of diet I'm putting together for them. But the meal plans can also include a lot of different stuff.
So you tailor your meal plans based on the person, so they're kind of individualized.
Yeah. That goes to what we were talking about earlier, was how do I make the program more individualized for the person? Does that make sense?
It does. It does make sense. So we are running out of time, but I want to give you some time to share, where people can reach you. But I have one last question, and it would be kind of like, what advice will you give to women who are starting to have these menopausal symptoms, or if you could dispel a myth about menopause, and then just share where people can contact you.
I would say just start making thoughtful choices on your food. What you're eating, how you're sleeping, your lifestyle, your managing your stress, maybe yoga, exercise, deep breathing, or however you want to do it. I know this is an overused word. The cliche, self-care is very important. All of these little things add up. And I'm going to say this real quick. I've noticed some of my friends who went through menopause with no issues, they started in their 20s. They started taking care of these things. Their mothers told them, hey, if you want to avoid going through all this, you need to start taking care of yourself in your 20s. And that is a huge factor.
Wow. Okay, that is great advice. It starts with nutrition, it starts with health, it starts with self-care, and being intentional about how we treat ourselves. And this was a great talk. We definitely have to do it again. But go ahead and share your socials. How people can reach you.
The website is BeLifeLike, the letter B, and LifeLike.com. I'm also at Be Life Life on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find the menopause program on, you can just go to my website and it's on there. I can't remember exactly. But it's on there. If you go into Bill Plans, there's a, if you scroll down, you can get more information on the menopause program, menopause nutrition program. That's basically it. I'm on Twitter, but I don't post a lot on Twitter. I just do a lot of research on it. But this is very exciting.
This is very exciting.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem. I'm glad that you're here. You gave a lot of good tips and advice. So I'm sure that this is going to help. Even if it just helps one person, that's all that really matters. But, we're both doing something that we love, and that's what matters, that we're able to spread our knowledge in this way. So it was a great talk.